Hey traders, welcome back. It's Katy. I hope you all had a great week. Today we're looking at the three most important coins: Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. What happened this week, how the structure looks, and where I see potential entries right now. And as promised, every week we'll add one more coin based on your requests, and this week's pick is BNB. We'll also take a look at what happened in the news this week and how it could impact the markets. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me keep creating these updates for you. I put a lot of effort into giving you the most accurate and useful market breakdowns. And if you want to stay up to date in real time, follow me on X. The link is in the video description. Let's jump straight in, because time is money. Quick disclaimer: this is not financial advice. I'm simply sharing what I do myself and how I analyze the charts. You are always responsible for your own decisions and trades. Trade smart, and with your own plan. Let's start with a quick look at the crypto bubbles. As we can see, there haven't been any major moves among the big projects this week, while smaller ones like Humanity and Virtual had some impressive rallies. Now, let's start, as always, with Bitcoin. On the weekly time frame, the trend is still clearly bullish. Price is holding above the 50 exponential moving average, and I've drawn a beautiful weekly structure targeting around $167,463. The BC correction zone lies between $100,327 and $91,688. That's a great potential swing trade entry area. On the 4-hour chart, we're still within the same structure. The target level C has been reached, and it aligns with the 50 exponential moving average on the daily and the 200 exponential moving average on the 4-hour, forming a strong resistance zone that we need to break to reach new all-time highs. Moving on to Ethereum, on the daily chart, we're still in a bearish sequence, the red one. Price remains below the 50 EMA, and the BC correction level at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement, around $4,208, is acting as resistance. On the 4-hour chart, Ethereum is starting to build a nice bullish structure. Once we reach the green dashed zone, I'll be looking for potential long entries again. Now let's talk about Solana. On the daily time frame, the bearish sequence hasn't yet reached the reversal zone at 136.28 USD. The BC correction level was hit and then moved back down. Price is currently below the 50 EMA but still above the 200 EMA. On the 4-hour chart, we're waiting for a bullish structure to form along the green dashed line, and on the 1-hour chart, we're still inside the bearish structure between the target zone and the full correction level. Once price breaks above that, we can start looking for long entries again. Now let's look at our new coin, BNB. BNB isn't always the easiest coin to trade since it's heavily influenced by Binance. But on the 4-hour time frame, we currently have a very clean bullish structure. According to my setup, a potential entry could be around the 0.618 Fibonacci level, 1,092.87 USD, with a stop loss near the 0.786 level at 1,074.70 USD. Now let's move on to the most important news of the week. Earlier this week, Trump warned that China could face tariffs of up to 155% if no trade deal was reached by November 1st. Markets reacted nervously, expecting more volatility, but just a few days later, he said that a strong trade deal with China will happen. That statement completely flipped sentiment, easing fear and supporting a small recovery across risk assets. Trump also made headlines by announcing that he pardoned Binance founder CZ, saying he wasn't guilty and had been persecuted by the Biden administration. That sent shockwaves through the crypto community. Crypto officially just went political again. Then he called off all trade negotiations with Canada, calling a disputed Ontario ad fake and disrespectful. Talks are officially over, which adds another layer of uncertainty to global trade. Meanwhile, Fed Chair Jerome Powell confirmed that quantitative tightening will end in the coming months, meaning more liquidity is likely coming back into the system. Historically, that's been bullish for Bitcoin and other risk assets. Also this week, BlackRock reportedly acquired around $209 million worth of Bitcoin, showing that institutional demand remains strong despite volatility. And finally, the odds of 2 rate cuts in October surged to 98.9%, signaling that the market expects a liquidity flood, which is again very bullish for crypto. Outside the US, Japan just announced that banks will be allowed to buy and sell Bitcoin, marking a huge step toward mainstream adoption in the world's 5th largest economy. In short, a mix of political tension and liquidity optimism defined the week, and overall, the macro tone remains bullish for Bitcoin and the broader crypto market. Finally, let's check the liquidation heat map to see where the biggest liquidity clusters are. On the 3-day chart, we can see that a lot of longs have been liquidated in the range between $106,500 and $105,850, while short positions start building up above $112,000. On the 1-week chart, we see a very similar setup. Strong liquidity sitting between $106,250 and $105,650 on the lower side. That tells us there's still more liquidity below the current price, but it doesn't necessarily mean that market makers will go for it. However, there's a good chance they might grab that lower liquidity first, and after that, we could see a strong move to the upside once it's cleared. And now a quick look at the Fear and Greed Index. It's currently at 38, which means fear, but not extreme fear anymore. That shows sentiment is slowly improving after last week's extreme readings. When fear starts to fade, it often signals that the market could be preparing for its next leg up, especially if liquidity begins to return. That's my overview for this week. I hope it brought you real value and some new insights. Let me know in the comments which coin or topic you want me to cover next week. I always pick one community favorite. Thanks for watching, stay disciplined, and remember, always set a stop loss and never trade without a plan.